How all team-based ladders should work, in my humble opinion. Concept: 5 people playing basketball are responsible for their own match quality. So, this whole thing is to describe how you make unlimited avoid as teammates work. It's possible, and even unlimited avoid as opponent. And it's totally doable. I'm still working on drawing up all the stuff needed to make it happen, but here's the concept, right? So, all right, try to do this quick. You always start off. I always start off with Overwatch 15 versus 15 on Arathi Base and Warsong Gulch, maybe 30 more maps and blacklisting possible. So we're using Overwatch characters, and it's 15 versus 15 on Arathi Basin, right? Now, yeah, we're talking about Overwatch as it exists now, but I gotta throw that in there. Alright, now we're assuming a perfectly balanced game, right? It's very easy to do. Simply by using the win rates and stuff. Like, heroes can't obtain over 55% win rate in Masters Plus or whatever. It's very easy. You just adjust the hit points. But here's a problem, and you can see. I'll just go over the balance really quick. It's very easy to see that here's the worst case scenario, and it's still possible to make a balanced game. So you got Ryan and Widow, and an open field and a labyrinth, right? Widow will excel in the open field and be hurt in the labyrinth, and Ryan will excel in the labyrinth and be hurt in the open field, right? Because an open field is the weakness of a shield, right? Obviously, the shield's better in corridors. So, with this show, Rollock's not necessary, right? You can have balanced, healthy metas without restricting it, but um, if if Widow, if you want Widow to be strong in the labyrinth, obviously um, she'll be really hurt in the. She'll be way too strong in the open field. So if you want Widow to be decent in the labyrinth, she'll be way too overpowered in the open field, meaning that you can't do that. Widow, let's say Widow's a little too good in the open field, meaning she's not very good in the labyrinth. Well, this is the correct balance decision, right? You can never have heroes too overpowered. So I'm just putting this out there to show that good balance is very easy to achieve. All right, so this all boils down to devs constraining the game instead of making up the QoL I'm about to describe. Even with this complicated ladder, it would still be very easy for a casual to just enter Q. The devs are trying to make a game where you just hit a button and get a decent game at the expense of the people who are actually want to play Overwatch like it was meant to be played. The Overwatch is a game of football, right? American football. It's not soccer. Yeah, you can throw same as basketball, kind of. You can throw 10 guys on a field or 5 guys on a court, and like the game of basketball is kind of straightforward. But football, right? It takes a little bit of coordination, right? So this is why it's so necessary to do the ladder my way, right? Because it's a game of football. It's not soccer, right? So what else did I say here? The devs are trying to. So it all boils down to So with unlimited friends, you do need a lot of this QoL, and I'll kind of talk about it. But so let's pretend we're playing Overwatch. 15 versus 15, right? Because it's even more complicated problem. So that's why it's good to look at it this way. But for the sake of clarity, we'll go with 5 versus 5, no hero limits. Because in this is addressed to someone on Reddit, but Rollock 122, my system works on this. It just makes it more complicated than it needs to be. You don't need roll lock. There's no inherent roles don't exist, right? Roles are a spectrum, right? And some heroes lie on the ends, like Reinhardt, Soldier, and Mercy. What Zen? He if you think roll lock is a necessity, I don't know what to tell you, but anyway. So here's how the ladder works. There's a quick play, right? Maybe no grouping, maybe there is, I don't know, but it just works like quick play. So you can just have a match, right? And it doesn't, there's no MMR or anything. It just, as soon as there's 30 people in the queue, it just makes the game, right? And you can leave and you can come and you go, and this way there's a game that is constantly playing. You can constantly play the game, you know, it doesn't matter. So then we have competitive, and the way competitive works is that all now mind you, you're allowed to account. This is a ladder with no moderation. You're allowed to account share. You're allowed to sell your passwords, and all this quality of life would eliminate the need for any moderation on the ladder. It all takes care of itself. So the competitive ladder, everybody, all new accounts start at the bottom, right? And the the way it actually works is, we'll go down here. Elo will probably work, but I have a better way. I don't know if Elo would be better. I haven't figured it out, but the way I'm about to describe definitely works. It definitely works. So when the first, second, third, and fifth place get beat by 101st and 102nd, those guys all advance to first place, right? Because these people have beaten them, and that means they're number one now because they beat number one. And it would also keep track of how many times you defended the highest rank. So, like, if your highest rank you ever reached was 1,385, well, it would also keep track of how many times you successfully defended that rank, right? It only makes sense. So this stems from boxing, right? So in boxing, you have to defend your title every 9 months. I looked this up. This is how it's done. The way boxing is done is there's two people and a ring, and when one person wins, they are the boxing champion. And the way you become the champion now is to defeat the champion. Now, yeah, he has to defend his title every 9 months. You got to have some limit, and this is where these ranks would go down every day, right? So, if I was 1,385th place and I didn't win within a 24-hour span from my last match, I would be knocked down to 1,386th place, right? This is the built-in mechanic that kind of pushes people to not play, but you can see in the boxing, right? You need some sort of mechanic where you can't be the champion and then just retire and then you're the champion until eternity, right? You have to defend it, and if I'm assuming if you retire, right, there would be a match between the second and third place, and that guy would be the champion, right? So this ladder, it's very organic, right? Now, maybe you can use Elo. I don't know, but there's no need to even think about it, right? Because this way is flawless. There's nothing wrong with this. When you defeat the champion, you are the champion. That's... if you argue with that, I don't know what to say. But, okay, so back to the competitive. So all new accounts start at the bottom. Unlimited friends list, unlimited avoid his teammate, unlimited opponents. So this goes back to the concept of 5 people playing basketball. Blizzard made Overwatch. It's like they made the basketball court. You show up with 5 friends at the basketball court, they're not responsible for finding you friends. The opponents to play basketball, it could just be... it's just a giant list of people who also want to play basketball. It's your responsibility to ensure that you have good quality matches. And I don't see why match quality is so important. Because, alright, I'll get into it in a sec, but let's say the worst of what would happen in my ladder is that an OWL team would 5-stack in Grandmasters, and they would have like an 85% win rate. Well, that's their fault. That is their problem. I don't see why Blizzard would take anything away from anyone else to ensure that that's not going to happen. An OWL team 5-stacking, queuing into the ladder, and winning 85% of the matches, 95% of the matches, there is absolutely nothing wrong with this. And if you try to steer away from this, you're screwing over people that you're you're hurting people to solve a problem that doesn't deserve to be solved. You know what I mean? It's weird. It's weird. But anyway, um, so back to this, the competitive. It's 15 versus 15. So we can agree you have an unlimited friends list, right? And you meet the people in there's an auto queuer, right? And you meet the people in these matches. So you have an unlimited friends list. You have a limited void as teammates. They're the same thing. If you your ability to find friends and to play with, yes, it's not. Ugh, I, I want to say the word self-evident. All this stuff should be just crystal clear to everyone, and I think they're trying to make it a push button game, right? I just want a game where I just push a button and play. Well, you can do this, but what I'm fighting for is for Overwatch to be played in the correct way. So I was a little off track, but unlimited void as teammates, unlimited friends list, and unlimited void as teammates. It's the same thing, same thing. Um, and it's all publicly viewable. Nothing in the ladder is hidden. All right, now the avoid opponents. The way this works is that if you if you're a bronze and you avoid GMs, well, that means you'll never climb. You'll just increase the amount of times you defended the title, right? We're talking in scales here, right? So if you're a bronze, you avoid GMs, you just won't climb, right? So that's up to you. If you don't want to play against GMs, then you'll never climb, and that's fine. You'll have 50% win rate. Um, Now, GMs avoiding bronzes, they if they avoid too much, they won't get a match, right? And all this information would be viewable, the ladder and all this stuff. So you could correctly, yeah, you don't want to avoid the entire ladder. For the teammates, you don't want to avoid everyone lower than you, and for the opponents, avoid everyone above you, right? Because you would never get a match, right? And there would be quality of life to show you the proper. There would be sliders, right? So if you're a GM, you avoid the plats and down. And if you're bronze, I don't think the bronzes would need to avoid the GMs, but you know, you, see, you may think that with a limited avoid his teammates and a limited avoid his opponents, it just wouldn't work. But the way it would work is that you would never get a match, right? So you would have to be a little bit more liberal with your avoid teammates and opponent, and so you would never get a match, right? And it'd be very easy to do. It'd be very easy. So I gotta draw this all up. It's very laborious. But anyway, no grouping limitations, right? It's 5 people on the basketball court. If if you want to show up to a basketball court with you and 4 children, that's on you. You're going to lose. There should be no reason why that's prohibited, right? It, it's really. I understand they want a push button game. I should put that into my lexicon, right? They want a push button game. But we're not. We're playing American football, not soccer, right? So I need to draw this all up. Okay, so that's good. We're at 13 minutes. All right, so I hope you understand how unlimited avoid his teammates and opponents can work. I don't know if I explained it very well, but it should be very. I don't know what more explaining I could do. Right? It's self-evident. I'm looking forward to your feedback.